Hi everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Plat Zarya player. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that helps me out quite a bit, and I really do appreciate it. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, what sort of promos, events we have going on, all that good stuff. Okay, knock one for an early right click. Way late to be going for this early right click. And you didn't see those coming. So, okay. So that's a lot of ult charge that you could have just gained there. I mean, that would have been a full 40 ult charge. That would have been nice to have. And if you'd been there in time, you'd have seen that coming, you'd have been able to shift that in time, all that good stuff. Okay, you got your 40. No, we do not want that reload. No, we don't just shoot at this Reinhardt who had a shield up and then had a Zarya bubble. We shoot at the Lucio. We shoot at the Genji. We're happy to shoot at other things. And then, you know, when this goes up, we're happy to also shoot at the edges of the shield. We'll right-click at the edges of the shield. We're happy to do those things because we know that he's likely to get a bubble and start swinging. That's a thing that's likely to happen in this matchup. But no big. Maybe you didn't know they had a Zarya yet, though this second you can. That's a 36 ammo reload. No reason to reload here. Fine bubble. You actually don't need to be on this Reinhardt the whole time, even when he's swinging. It's perfectly fine to melt the Genji. That Genji is going to leave the fight a lot faster than that Reinhardt by putting a little bit of damage pressure on him. And you want to sort of think of it this way, where it's like, okay, it's going to take me more work to make this Reinhardt leave, and this Reinhardt does damage to me, though, you know, this does damage to our team, etc. Whereas this Genji, a little bit of damage pressure will make this Genji out, or maybe get you the elimination, and that is potentially preferable. Rather than shoot at the Rein shield, that's our... No! 50 ammo reload! Why? There's so many right clicks or left click opportunities. Reloads are so painful. Okay, now you can burn the Reinhardt. He has no shield left and he's low health. You can't melt your own Reinhardt. Why are you holding down the ammo button as you're finding a target? Why are you holding down left click? This is just burning ammo. The Zarya wasn't shooting at you yet.
Maximum charge.
You weren't missing any health and the Zarya wasn't shooting at you yet. You want to keep your bubble. You don't necessarily bully people while your bubble is going. You bully people while your bubble is available. That's what you want to do. So you sort of want to like hold it until the last moment. You don't want to go, oh yeah, I'm going to bubble because to stop her from getting to shooting at me. I'm going to bubble when she's already shooting at me, because even if she stops perfect and I get no energy from it, which isn't what'll happen, that's going to have bought me the most total time of being able to continue to work, the most total time of having done pressure, because you can pressure her hard up until the point at which you use your bubble. So you don't want to use your bubble early. You see how that makes sense? How that works? You pushed too far forward. You shouldn't have reloaded yet. You could have easily put another right click in there. No! No! So, no! You were late on the bubble. No, the reloads! The reloads! You miss out on a lot of potential right clicks with these reloads. You miss out on some left click damage too, but you are missing out on a lot of right clicks. You only want to hit the reload button if you're in a situation where you actually really have a pretty high confidence that you're not going to have an opportunity to take another shot before your reload animation would be over. And you can even burn Zarya's ammo all the way down. So like you can go, hey, I have 100 ammo. Maybe I do some left click, right click, some left click, a right click. Maybe I do some more left click. And then let's say you're down to like 12 ammo. You can burn that down to 0 ammo and then reload, or you can do another right click at any amount of ammo under 25 and you'll still get a full power right click that'll then immediately convert into a reload. Even if you have 12 ammo or 6 ammo or 2 ammo, when you do that right click, it's still going to take you to 0 and do a full power right click. So there's a lot more damage that we can be getting out of here. A lot. Okay, let's see how this grab is going to go. Fine. So many squishy targets. So many squishy targets that would go down so much faster than this Reinhardt. The target selection does not have to be Reinhardt 100% of the time. If you can delete a target, that is better than just puking damage into Reinhardt. It is. This Junkrat could already be eliminated. You could have eliminated this Junkrat. I don't love this. I don't think you needed this, but at least they used barrier.
I'm on fire. Everyone follow me.
My ultimate is ready. Get in there and I will boost you. My ultimate is fully charged. Get in there.
Push up for your right clicks now. A little late. What is that bubble?
Nano boost is ready. Get in there. I hit you.
No, you could have fired another right click. Even if it's low probability, it's decent probability. It's better than the reload there. Okay. If you're really good, you'd have done your ult tracking, you'd have known that grab was coming, you'd have intentionally played up top where they'd have had to pick between grabbing you in a safe place or grabbing your Reinhardt, and they wouldn't have gotten anyone else. Just you or your Reinhardt, and if they got you, you'd be in the safer place. If they got your Reinhardt, no big deal, you're still warding them off with your weapon. But that would require ult tracking, a more advanced plan than I expect for this level. Not a significantly more advanced plan than I expect for this level, but yeah, basically like this. Except you don't have any energy right now. Oh, you got a little off that. Not good enough, but a little. Why are we just not aware of the Genji on us? So, you're being attacked by a Genji. You're still being attacked by a Genji. That took you a long time to react to being attacked by that Genji. Almost. You see how quickly you almost deleted that Genji, though? That's a big deal. That's a big deal, because that Genji is now going to have to play much, much more passively until Xana heals him, or he's going to have to go spend time finding a health pack. And that's going to increase your team's pressure compared to their team's pressure by a fair bit more than you burning definitely the Rein shield, but even the Rein's health in most situations. Like, if you can go, oh, I do 140 damage to Reinhardt or 140 damage to Genji, and let's even do a little bit of aim forgiveness and say that you could have done 200 damage. 200 damage or 140 to Genji? 140 to Genji is going to be worth more, because that's also going to force the supports to pivot off and heal Genji, who's going to be harder for them to heal, meaningfully so. In this case, where BAP really doesn't handle, excuse me, they don't have the BAP. They have the Lucio and the Ana. So yeah, meaningfully so, and it's going to take pressure off of your Reinhardt and your team in general. Like, we really do want that target selection. When there's easy targets that aren't Reinhardt, you want to shoot at those targets to make them start playing more passively, to make them go back to cover, their Reinhardt shield, whatever the case may be. That will decrease the pressure that is on your team very significantly and will win you the fight meaningfully over time. You're gonna no. Yeah, there you go. Tilt the enemy team. It's a little hard to make this work from up here just because you can't get great value out of your personal bubble. You're gonna... Reasonable. No, the reloads, the reloads! Oh! 9 ammo reload. Reinhardt is not the target. Look at this. Look at this.
Bring it.
That Reinhardt is nanoed and has more than 500 health still with armor. He is not the one you want to melt. He's not. You're going to stop incoming damage way faster by putting some pressure on Genji or even Lucio than you are on Reinhardt here. Put some pressure on the Genji. It changes nothing for you. You're still going to be backing away the same. Put pressure on Lucio. He's purple. You can get the elimination.
Just a scratch.
Oh, that's a Rhine shield. That's a Rhine shield. By the way, he just happened to pop his Rhine shield. He's not popping his Rhine shield because he has to. Look at how much health he still has. You were never controlling him with your beam, where you could immediately make this Lucio leave with a little bit of beam pressure on them. And making Lucio leave might take away Rhine's speed, which would help you more than zapping this Reinhardt. Oh, the Genji! The Genji's back there on our screen where we could eliminate him. Even the Zarya is a better target than...
Give me another shot.
Nanoboot is ready to deploy. Get me.
Oh, the reload.
Ultimate is fully charged. Get in
My
there.
ultimate
That
is
one's
almost
fine.
ready. Огонь по готовности.
Yes! No! You were almost right. Almost right.
Огонь.
Anna, cool. You don't have much energy, so this isn't going to work very well, but you'll still be able to throw a projected bubble over there when you see it, which, could be now, because that Reinhardt over there is pretty darn low. So throw the bubble on your Reinhardt, melt this Anna. That would be great. Throw the bubble and then come back on the Anna. What are you doing?
Has reached
You needed to step forward and stop the checkpoint. You needed to go back to the Anna faster. That was how you actually win this fight. Pressure on their Reinhardt over there might seem like, oh, I'm attacking him from behind. It's great. It's actually less meaningful than pressure on their Anna. Your team is more likely to eliminate the Reinhardt if you pressure the Anna than if you add your damage to the Reinhardt. Like, meaningfully so. Putting the Anna under even a little bit of pressure does way more to help get the Reinhardt elimination, plus you can get the Anna elimination. You can actually win this fight from here. Like, your team was behind, but you could have actually won this fight from here. Especially now that you have 70 energy. But you let them cap. And if they were willing to invest beat, you probably weren't going to win that fight. But as far as I'm concerned, even when you're trying to run away, it's generally better to be facing the opponents that you're trying to run away from, unless you're doing a reload or something like that, because it keeps them honest. The threat of you aiming at them and pointing your weapon at them and doing damage to them makes them move a little more evasively, makes them think a little bit more about what could you do, and that tends to be worth more in the grand scheme of things from their speed. Like, you might get out faster by turning around and running, but you'll get out faster relative to your opponents catching you if you actually face them and threaten them with your weapon, etc., because they're then kept a little more honest in most situations. Uh, 2,500 effective HP Reinhardt. That's the fight I want to take. Temporal, there's enough time. Is it better to come out right door on Hollywood 2nd? It can be better to come out split like he did there. Yeah. Is it overall better to come out right door? Technically, you've got a little better cover around left door than you do around right door, but the reality is you want to come out split. And if they haven't rounded the first door with the cart yet, their eyeballs are going to be on that first door. So yeah, second can be better, but it's better to come out split in most situations.
Огонь по готовности.
No bubble for your Blade and Genji? That was a late bubble.
Perseverance is the key.
Nano boost is charged.
What? It's your BAP. You're reloading with 75, and you might think there's no opponents on your screen, but that's an active choice to have no opponents on your screen. You can absolutely be throwing a right click here, even if you couldn't see the Junkrat, because you know there's a Junkrat here that could walk into it. You could throw right clicks down here. There isn't actually not anyone that's shootable for you right now. You're choosing to try to make it so that there's no one shootable, and there's not a good reason for that. It's not like you're super low on height, on health, and need to be behind cover or anything. Don't you dare. Good.
Nano boost almost ready.
Playing the off angle, I like it. I like it. Can we deepen our off angle? Instead of jumping off here, can we deepen our off angle around here and melt them from here and make the Reinhardt super uncomfortable? Do I shield over here? Do I shield here? Do I shield over here? What do I do? Oh shoot, now there's someone who's melting our Zarya from here. And now Zarya's weapon damage gets pulled off of your Reinhardt and onto you, and you just go, I'm going to take a step back and I can still throw right clicks. And then Zarya goes, well, do I try to throw right clicks up here when I can't really see you? After trying once or twice, maybe I'll change my mind and go back to this. And then you step right back forward and you get to do more damage to the Reinhardt, to the Zarya. And then the Zarya goes, no, I don't like that, and turns and fights you. And then you use your bubble to finish bullying and finish her off. That scenario might be like, oh, that's just a work of fiction that Temporal worked up. Yeah, probably how it would have played out, though. I get it. That shield is weak. The Reinhardt's at like 40%. Still going to do more for your team. I know. To put a little bit of pressure, unless your team is hard calling Rein shield, it's still going to do more to put pressure on these guys, to make them leave, to make them not contribute to the fight, and then they won't be able to protect their Reinhardt at all, because they'll be getting out. They'll be getting out faster, and that means, hey, maybe Rein doesn't get speed. Hey, Lucio isn't here to hit the boops. Hey, when Lucio pops his amp, maybe he's not here to do things. Like, this matters. This matters. Genji isn't over here at an angle, pelting us with shurikens and making us think about him. Like, this matters. Melt these targets that are exposed here. And you don't have to chase after them, but like while they're here, while they're reachable with your beam, melt them. And then as soon as they get to unreachable with your beam, because you keep advancing in the direction of Reinhardt, get back on the Reinhardt. That's all. It's going to actually make it easier for you to get this Rein elimination because your team will push forward more safely with less pressure on them. Do you know the Genji? Oh, the reload.
60 seconds.
Gonna play from the left or right? Yeah. So the grab wasn't specifically the reason I wanted you playing from the left or right, but the concept does apply, where you don't need to be standing right on top of your Reinhardt. You're actually more dangerous if you're standing like right over here, or even over here, where A, you might not get caught by the grab, but B, you get to apply angled damage. You could have been up here. You could have even been up here and just been like, I'm going to throw right clicks from here. I'm going to hop up here and do left clicks from here. Like, those are options to you. I'm going to be here where I've got cover and can apply my beam and can throw right clicks and can throw right clicks and have a health pack that I can use and, stop. And by being here, I also stop their Genji from taking control of this flank, which is cool. So, like, I get an off angle and I stop their Genji from flanking. Sign me me up.
Let them out. Crusaders!
30 seconds remaining. I will never surrender. Complete.
Okay.
Score 0.
Let's do one more round here.
4, 3, 2.
This looks like an extra time round, and unless the extra time is short, I'm not convinced that we're going to do it the whole time, because there's plenty to point out for this guy already that will make a meaningful difference. It's a little early on your bubble. When you look at the grand scheme of things, yes, now the Reinhardt is looking to swing at you, but he wasn't actually swinging at you yet when you popped this bubble, so that's not great, and you weren't actually taking meaningful damage. It's like, you want to pop your bubble when you're taking damage, and you can expect to continue to take damage, or when you can actually see the projectiles in the air, and we can count a Rein swing as a projectile, coming at you when you press the button, so you know you're going to get the energy off of it. This wasn't really that. You expected to take damage, you felt like the enemy should shoot at you because you were in the choke in front of your team. But let's take a look here. You're at 375, you're at 400. You're at 400. Yeah. It's nice that Ryan happened to swing his hammer rather than canceling that with a shield, but he was very early into the swing if he'd even started it. I'm not convinced he'd started it when you hit the bubble button there. So this did not have to be, this bubble didn't have to get any value. Stop telling him this. I don't need more enemy Zaryas in my games that take off angles, right? That really could have been a right click. You did the turn around to run away thing. And you could have just backed out while throwing the right click at 9 ammo.
I understand.
You jumped into that without your bubble. You probably just didn't know you didn't have it. Okay. Okay. Come on. Oh, you gotta play some double bubble now. Cool. Musket loading Zarya, exactly. That can make a good title. What's her weapon called? We should look up what her weapon is called, and then we could say, you know, Zarya weapon is not a musket as the title or something. Wasn't a great bubble on your Winston there. Yes, he was fighting something, but he was fighting something that was very clearly retreating. He's going to need that bubble. He can't do a real another engage until he has your bubble available, and he actually doesn't need a leap to do a real engage. He can just drop to do a real engage. So I'd have preferred you'd held that bubble so he knew he could just drop for an engage, a good high energy, high impact engage that he then gets to hop out of. Yeah, so he would like this bubble like nowish. Well, officially more like nowish, but, you know, right before the bubble broke. There's nothing on the other team that's particularly punishing, so yeah, you could bubble him now.
Area activated.
So, I know what you want, but that's a lot of ammo wasted while tracking that Genji. Particle cannon? Particle cannon is not a musket? To highlight that it doesn't need to be reloaded after every right click? Maybe, maybe. Yeah, they're hard to see. Zarya reloads are hard to unsee after you've seen them. Okay, play the corner. Fine.
Take the pain.
Nano boost is charging.
Thank you.
60 seconds remaining. Objective A captured. Escort the payload.
Payload in track.
Barriers on you. Go.
Took a while to start shooting there. Oh no. Oh no. I don't think you're high enough energy to go do this. Oh, but they surrendered it. That was nice. Yeah. So that's what I'm commenting on. I don't mind you trying to track things and being a little off with your tracking. I can tell you're struggling with your tracking a bit, so that's something that you should work on. But what I am getting bothered by is when you're trying to track something, even when you get a fair bit behind the target, like say you're trying to track up here and the target has actually fallen down to here, you're just hard trying to drag and you're not doing a quick flick like this and then trying to correct. You're just sort of hard dragging and you're spending ammo the whole time. If you're doing a quick flick and then swapping back to tracking, that would be fine, but you're not, and you're burning ammo the whole time. I would like you to do the flick. The flick would be better, but if you can't do the flick, or you're not there yet on your flicks, please at least let go of the button. At least let go of the button so that you have more ammo left. It's not bothering you right now because you reload obsessively, but it's possible that this is part of what led to your reload obsessively habit in the first place. And even if it's not, it's still good to fix because it's more uptime for you. Bye. Wait, is it actually the Spartan laser? Particle cannon sounded real, but if it's Spartan laser, that's hilarious.
Get in there.
Okay, so you got your bubble timing wrong. Again, your Winston wants the bubble when he goes in. We don't need to look away from them.
Don't hold back.
But why? Why? It was there. Ulting Genji wants your bubble. He's in an aggressive position. He's using something that's powerful. You would like to invest resources in this thing that is powerful to make it more likely to be successful. Specifically, you would like to invest this resource. Other resources you can invest are your body. You can run forward and become present in this push. That would be good too. But this bubble right here, very easy. Very easy. Do this bubble, please. Well, your target priority is better when there's not a Reinhardt. Okay. That's your teammate. Fine. I know those shots are harder, but I want you to go for them anyway. You're gonna grab, but you don't have bubble for your monkey. This is gonna be a little tough. And you guys don't have blade. Yeah, this is gonna be tough. Yeah, that was a bad grab. Your team wasn't actually positioned to follow up on that grab. You didn't have the bubble that could have potentially let your monkey contribute more, so your monkey decreased his damage by primaling because he needed the survivability.
Over here.
Our ultimate's ready. We need to keep this moving.
Give me your best shot. 60 seconds remaining.
Nano blade only
Okay, but now you don't have a projected bubble for your Reinhardt to push with. Good. Why are you turning around? You can't turn around and wait. Your team was pushed into this. Why did you drop? I'd have liked you to keep going here. If you wanted to drop down and play from here, that's fine. I can work with that. But your team was clearly in, so you needed to contribute. Instead, you're like, let me check on my team. I wonder how they're doing. And you waited for your team to get pushed into, even though you'd had 2 people on your team that had gone aggressive. You needed to support them. I don't care if you think their play was dumb. They made the play, you have to support it. It might not have been the optimal play, but it wasn't a throw play. It was a play that on ladder definitely needs to be supported. Oh, the Genji. Good. Anna? Cool. You gonna push up and keep your snowball going? Cool. What? Why? So I get it. You're thinking, I want this energy. This isn't actually what you want to do yet because you have enough energy. More energy would be great, but you have enough energy. And remember, this is your tether. This cooldown is your tether. It's your ability to bully people. Using it isn't specifically your ability to bully people. Having it available is your ability to bully people. So you don't want to go stand here because, oh, Junkrat nades. You want to be going over here because you want to have maximum bully uptime on this Junkrat that's trying to leave. And then he will try to defend himself with his weapon because he's not you, as he's traveling across here, and then you get to go, okay, I'm fighting this and you're defending yourself with your weapon, so I am going to pop my personal so that I get to continue to bully you with no real concern about your weapon. In fact, your weapon is making me stronger. You see how that goes? Or if he turns and doesn't look at you and is missing shots, well, maybe you go up there and then you get to go further, and you get to keep going up till about here-ish because you have your personal bubble available. Does that make sense? Like, if you use your personal bubble here, you simply don't get to chase this far. You simply don't. This becomes like a hard limit for as far as you could go, this cover right here. But you can chase a little further if you have that personal bubble available. You see how that works? Which lets you fish a little harder for that elimination. I say as we push way past what we're allowed to push, but if our team pushes up too, it's fine. Oh, you do not have cover. Good, you got it back. Please don't get reset. That could have been bad. You turned away from them rather than keep them honest with your weapon. Play the ankle, play the ankle, play the ankle. Hold your bubble, hold your bubble. Now going from the angle, going from the angle. Window, blade, high noon grav. Smells like Plat. Were you worried about him booping you? Like, what was the personal bubble for? Him booping you was completely irrelevant. Swapping to the Anna, good. And then even the tire, okay. Oh yeah, any ult would have been finishing this map with time if they'd kept like any of those 4 ults that they used in the last fight. Oh. Good. So Lucio isn't actually your target. There's some target prioritization that needs to happen here. You've been doing an okay job of getting on the Ana and Junkrat, who are both pretty good priority targets for you to get on. But if we were to go through this, we would be like, yeah, Ana, that's a good target to eliminate. Junkrat, that's a good target to eliminate. I like eliminating these targets. Then we'd get into our next tier of target, which would be like, yeah, let's get rid of this Zarya. Let's get rid of this Genji. And then we deal with the ball before we deal with the Lucio. You're doing a little too much of the, we have Lucio, ball, and I think it was Zarya alive at the time. No, and Genji alive at the time. And you're spending a lot of time working on Lucio. Lucio is literally the last target you deal with. Unless you're like, he's about to beat and I need to stop him from getting the beat out, and that's really important, in which case, sure, that's fine. But I don't think that's what's going on here. And the target prioritization I gave you was not a hard rule here. It's changed by ultimates. You might move Zarya right to the top of your priority list if you know she has Graph. If you swing these two around a little, I don't really care. It's going to be based on how accessible they are. You can definitely burst down a Junkrat while Nana's still alive without any real problem. So taking him down is just fine. Okay. There's also a video on target priorities on my channel that you can go find if you like. In exactly this type of situation. So again, you could have skipped the whole mess by having saved one ult from the last fight. Okay, looks like the excitement of seeing the enemy team all grouped up. Oh, the grab back at the end of second. Yeah, I agree, that's what happened. Sometimes the team does stupid things, but you still gotta babysit, even if their position's stupid. Yeah, that's mostly the case. It's not 100% the case. Like, you don't need to put yourself in completely not winnable situations. Sometimes a teammate goes and does something crazy, and you just go, good luck. Sometimes you do that, but it wasn't like absolutely wild what his team was doing on the top of the second roof on second there. It was a reasonable push. Was it my absolute favorite? Was it before the rest of his team was ready? Yeah, but it wasn't wild. They were just going to be a second or two ahead if he kept moving. Instead, he waited and made them go in like into a 2v6 3 or 4 seconds alone instead of 2 seconds alone, and that was silly.
What's wrong with the classics? I love Hasselhoff.
Stupid times stupid equals win. It's like negatives. Sometimes, yeah. And yes, the high noon would have been great. Any ult would have been great there. Okay, this should be quick. I don't think these are going to be deep pushes.
2, 1. Attackers
Okay, so off of one bubble, he got 22 energy.
I have found the enemy. Come and face
You're covered.
We won't get to test it because he got hooked. Okay. I've tested it before. I just like to illustrate it for people every once in a while. Not the best bubble. I like that you're putting a little more pressure on the Junkrat this time, though if he's actually out of range. I'd have preferred right clicks with the Junkrat instead of beams that wouldn't reach him. But that you're trying to put some pressure on him instead of just going, I'm going to burn the Rhine shield for 1,000 plus HP. This is aggressive. The double reload. The triple reload. The quadruple reload! Good, hook dodge.
10 seconds remaining.
You can't bubble him when he walks. Okay. Fine. You had to. Hey, AJ! we had like 6 less reloads and instead converted those 6 reloads to right clicks, that's the missing 33% for a grab right there. That might mean capping this point. That adds up. Yeah, it was a pretty good one, Blah.
Perseverance is the key.
It's a Zarya review where we mostly haven't talked about bubbles, which is a little unusual. But hey, there's other things to work on, which is good because I feel like so many Zarya reviews have to focus so heavily on bubbles.
3-3. Switching sides.
Which is fine. The bubbles need work for Zarya players, and that's a thing that will make Zarya players better, and that's why we generally focus on them. But it can make it a little repetitive to viewers who are watching multiple Zarya reviews to try to get better when bubbles get talked about so often. And they don't have to here because there's other things that are very important to be worked on.
Together we are strong.
Reinhard, I must say you're looking quite well. This life must agree with you.
And you are looking as lovely as ever.
Okay, well, were we actually going to go up? Is this better? This is almost better. This is like mildly better than what you... And now it's not? Are we going to fire at the doorway or not?
Crash, you'll be fine.
5,
Okay.
4, 3, 2.
So you have no sense of timing. You gave away that you were here ages ago, so you didn't really expect to get anything from this, but you got energy instead. You can peek that just a second or two before, just in time to have your right click on the way through the air. You don't need to peek that 10 seconds early and let them have a chance to see you and potentially get more aware, oh, I should not walk into these right clicks. Oh, you got stuck. You were late on that bubble. You could have hit him. Yes, you're staying on the Genji. Okay, that's fine. Junk. Okay. Okay.
Barriers on round 3.
Mhm.
Ready for battle.
Almost.
Огонь по готовности.
Okay, so things you need to be aware of, things that you need to work on, and I want you to work on each of these with like 5 to 15% of your brain power while you're playing the game. That is how you get better at things in Overwatch. You don't just go, I'm going to try to learn 3, 4, 5 things at once because I heard all the right answers. No. You pick something and you fix the habit. You turn it into an appropriate habit. You use autopilot as a force for good rather than a force for evil, and you work it into your autopilot to free up your brain space to work on the next thing, or to think about tactics if you're pushing an SR peak. So what you're looking to do is to go, the first thing that I'm going to work on is my reloads. I'm going to be very conscious of when I'm pressing that reload button. I'm going to go, I am not pressing the reload after every single right click. I am not pressing the reload after using 8 ammo on beaming someone. I'm going to go, hey, if I throw out a right click, I don't immediately need to go right behind cover and hit reload button before I go out there again. It's perfectly fine to spend myself down to 0. If I take a bunch of damage and I don't have personal, maybe I'll go behind cover and hit the reload button, but not if I think someone's going to push me. But in general, we're looking to actually spend that down. Every reload that you hit was basically another right click of time, or even 2 right clicks of time that you could have gotten off. It's not quite 2 that you could have gotten off in terms of damage. And even if you only have a 25% chance or a 30% chance of hitting that right click, that's fine. That's not a big deal. That's still better. That's still a significant uptime improvement. That's going to slow down enemies. That's going to put more pressure on them. That's going to do more damage to them over the long haul. It's going to get you more ult charge. It's going to make you more threatening. It's going to make it easier for you to get energy, all that good stuff. So please don't reload. The particle cannon is not a single shot musket. That's what we're going with. The second thing that we're going to talk about is your target priority. You spend a lot of time, especially on that first defense, shooting at the Rhine shield. And it might have been like, oh, the Rhine's at a 3rd health and he's really juicy and I want to break that Rhine shield and get to him. Well, yeah, okay, you could break through his tough exterior Rhine shield and then get into the gooey goodness that is the 200 HP Rhine and eliminate him. Or you could just zap the 200 HP Genji, and even if you don't eliminate him and you just make him leave, he's going to then contribute a lot less until he either spends a lot of time to go find a health pack, which is a ton of pressure favor for your team if you think of this in a team v team situation, because he's spent 7 seconds to go get a health pack and come back, or his Ana or whoever is going to have to break from healing their Rhine to heal him, which is going to move for attention for a bit, which is going to make their Rhine more vulnerable. It's actually going to put more pressure on the Rhine in some ways than you zapping at his shield, and still relieved pressure because the Genji had to play more passive while he was waiting for that Ana to heal him, etc. Even if the Ana's very quick on flicking back and forth, there's still going to be some time there. And finally, you have a real chance of actually eliminating the Genji. And that real chance of eliminating Genji might force Genji to use his dash to go away. And then again, that's less pressure on your team. Genji not having dash is a meaningful cooldown that's gone. He can't do as much work. And I'm using Genji as the example, but we saw plenty of situations where you could have done this to Lucio as well. We saw a couple where you could have done it to Zarya. You're really too magnetized to that Reinhardt. Reinhardt is a good sort of, oh, there's nothing better for me to do target, let me shoot at him. And if he's got like a totally cracked shield and 100 health, sure, you can keep the pressure on him. But honestly, it's better in most situations to, if the off-angle target is accessible, the Genji, the Lucio, the McCree, the whatever, put the beam pressure on them. Now, if it's like I can hit 100% accuracy beams on this Reinhardt, or I can throw right clicks that I'm very unsure of hitting, sure, throw the beam at the Reinhardt, that's fine. But I'm talking these situations where the Genjis, Lucios are right there. You can hit him, even if you miss a little bit, even if you do a little less damage because your tracking is harder on those targets. That's fine. It's still going to do more for your team, and it's how you're going to get your tracking, or part of how you're going to get your tracking better. We did talk a little bit about your flicks and your tracking, and you're leaving your left click held while you're doing slow tracking pretty far from targets, but you can work on that. Those are really the two things I'm going to give you. We could talk about other things. We could talk about, the ammo usage, like I talked about, with holding down the button. We could talk about the off-angling that I would like to see more of. We could talk about the over-eager grab. We could talk about you not committing with your team. But those really are the two that I'm going to say. And you saw it a lot on your first defense there, where you were just on that Rhine too hard. You saw it was very meaningful on first. You saw it was meaningful that when that Rhine was coming after you with the nano on second. You saw lots of play. You saw it here again on third. Like, that's going to be a big thing for you. And then your ammo is a habit that you absolutely have to break with your right click reload, 8 energy or 8 ammo of beam reload. All that is just absolutely hurting your total damage done and causes you to miss things like the grab opportunity you should have had on your final attack there. Okay, if people have questions, go ahead and throw them up in chat now. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe. Seriously, like and subscribe. It's awesome, and I really do appreciate it. It lets me do more of these things. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, events we have going on. In fact, right now, we are still trying to eke out the final scheduling, so make sure to react in the Discord in the event planning section if you would like to participate in the internal scrim, so we can finally lock in those days with enough participants to really make sure it is something that, yep, we definitely want to do that. Okay, let's catch up on chat. How could that 30% charge gap be closed by reload management? Easily. I mean, so we're talking about a 70 energy Zarya. At the time, it might have even been higher, but if we're talking a 70 energy Zarya, and we're talking right clicks, and we had, like 7 silly reloads that could have easily been, hey, we're going to get more shots off, and even if we only get 1 right click per reload, which isn't quite right, you can get a little more than 1 right click per reload with how long they take. Even if that's the case, and even if you only get 1 person per thing, that could easily, and it wasn't 70, it was something like 73, so I think we needed like 27% energy or something like that. I don't remember. So this should actually have been 73 or something. So like that wasn't going to take very many right click hits. It wasn't going to take very many right click hits. Plus, how he would have played if he'd gotten closer with some of his right clicks would have changed it. There's ways that you can play to intentionally try to farm a little more ult charge as you're getting close that he probably would have done if he'd been at 96 going into that final fight, for example, even if he hadn't quite been at 100. But that's easy. You replace 7 of those right clicks, and I just called out 7. There were more. I just called out 7 because there were 7 single right click reloads, single right click reloads, single right click reloads in a row. That's easy to get that remaining gap. Easy is maybe an exaggeration, but that is very possible to get that remaining gap with. Remember, your right clicks could hit 1 person, they could hit 2 people, they could hit 3 people, they could hit 0 people, but you can absolutely get damage out of them, and damage is ult charge. Okay. Yes, time lost by reloading, exactly. And Blah went and explained it before I had. Okay, fair enough. That's what I get for catching up on chat at the end. I heard an advice once to unbind the reload for Zarya. I wouldn't actually unbind the reload button, Elenos, for Zarya. You might change your reload key so that reloading has to be a more conscious action. And the reason that you do that is because you do still want to be able to reload. If you completely wipe the opposing team and you have 6 ammo left in your clip, well, yes, you can fix that by doing a right click to force yourself to reload. But you see the situation where I'm talking about, where it's like you don't want to actually have to spend 3 right clicks worth of ammo, do 3 right clicks to reload, which is something that can happen when you've sort of won a fight and you know you're not going to have to do anything for the next second and a half, but you might need to do something in 3 seconds. You don't want to get yourself stuck in those situations. So my recommendation, if you're going to try that route, isn't to unbind reload, but instead to change the binding so that your default reload key doesn't do it. That'll make you have to think a little more consciously about doing that. It's the same way some people eliminate jumping, where they eliminate jumping from their, oh, I'm spamming jump and, it's just a habit, etc., by changing the bind to a different key, and then they still have it when they need it, and they still do use it some for dodging, but jumping becomes much more conscious, and it's a good way to break the, well, I just jump all the time habit that makes you pretty easy to track as you're falling. They should add the Spartan laser to Overwatch 2 and the Needler while we're at it. Wait, that's Echo Stickies, basically. Do I think Zarya is the most beginner-friendly tank? Do I think Zarya is the most beginner-friendly tank? No. If I think about my beginner-friendly tanks, I've got Reinhardt, because the community will love you for playing him, even if you play him terribly. I've got Roadhog, who, even though you playing him terribly will lose you games, it will feel just fine. You won't realize that your team, in every fight that you don't get an elimination with a hook to start the fight, my team loses. I wonder why that is. Well, it's because you're feeding a ton of ult charge without realizing it. But Zarya's probably in that list, yeah. I don't think Winston makes sense anymore. He gets punished too hard. I think when the game was fresh, Winston was probably in that list. Ball, right now, probably not, though has times when he'd be in it. He's not, yes, it's hard to actually make him work. No, I'm underestimating the tether difficulty, I think, for new players. Yeah, I'd consider Zarya to be in the beginner-friendly tier, I suppose, but I'd also put Roadhog and Reinhardt there. And that's not totally fair because I'm including Roadhog, who isn't actually that beginner-friendly, but will feel beginner-friendly, and is sort of beginner-friendly because you'll survive as Roadhog, and when you survive, you get more practice, and getting more practice makes you stop being a beginner faster. Yeah, no, I agree, Darkstrom. Ball is hard to play, but so is Reinhardt. So is Zarya. So is D.Va. They're all hard to play is sort of the thing. They're all hard to play. But they're all hard to play, but which one will get you some value or feel good playing it with minimal skill? What has a high value floor where it's it's very easy to get the a minimum acceptable value out of them. And maybe that's even Orisa? That might actually be Orisa. It's a tough call. Like, not getting any Holt value hurts, but is still probably okay. Yeah, tough call. Tough call. Okay. Uh Have you ever played with a low-level Hammond? That's me every time I play up to this day. I hear you, but like we could say the same thing about a diva, right? Where it's like there's lots of low-level divas who think they're playing the game right and are like, high ground? What's high ground? Defense matrix? I just hold that out in front of the team like I'm Reinhardt, right? Yeah. Yeah. I'm probably with Helix though after a little more thought here, where it's the Orisa's probably the easiest to sort of hit that value floor with. You won't be getting cult value, but you'll contribute to the fight in a meaningful way. And you won't get punished as hard as, say, a Reinhardt does or a Diva does. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Okay. That's going to do it for this one. And I hope you guys have enjoyed. Once again, please do like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Other than that, I hope to see you next time. Thanks, guys. Temporal out.